Okay, here we go. Marian Gilmore.
O'Brien Gilmore.
Marian Ellen Teresa O'Brien Gilmore the First, a.k.a. Mom.
Mom, yeah.
Let's chat.
Okay. What are we going to talk about?
So the reason I'm doing this podcast is because I find that it's pretty frequent that I find when I meet someone who's in a creative career, I'm like, what? How are you doing that? Like, I remember last holiday season, we brought the kids to see Disney on Ice.
Yeah.
And these people are like up on stilts, skating, doing acrobatics. And I'm just like, how? Like, not just like, how are you doing it, but like, how do you even get there? Like,
How do you start, you mean? Yeah.
how do you start? What are the opportunities you had? Where are like the decision points? And like, how do you cultivate a creative life? And so you are pretty famous in the Let's Chat world
What?
because I talk about you in every single episode.
You do? I've listened to all your episodes.
I think if you go back and listen, you'll notice that I'm like, say something about my mom, or my family, or because I'm so interested how people come up, and I came up in a very supportive, creative environment.
Yeah. Well, I did too. So I brought you up the same way.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I feel like just trying to think about creative things that come up. It's like, I'm thinking about that Brachiosaurus that we made, those like huge paper mache Brachiosaurus.
Oh, we said paper mache Sundays. Yeah, in the winter. We did kids a little, We did it just to keep you busy because it took you 4 hours.
Oh my gosh. How old was the youngest kid when you started doing that?
It was before the boys, so.
Oh my gosh. So you're doing it when they were babies too?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, I need to wait till my youngest is.
No, because remember the boys were like 2 or 3, and we took coat hangers and straightened them out and just wrapped newspaper around just so they could make snakes.
Yeah.
Because they were too little to do anything else. So, yeah.
All right. Maybe I should get on it more.
No, yeah. I always started you guys little, I mean, I've been sewing my whole life. I don't even remember a moment in my life when I didn't sew.
Right.
So my grandmother, my grandmother, I grew up at home. My grandmother lived with me.
Yeah.
And she, very humble beginnings. She was cleaned homes and took in sewing for people. So I remember my earliest memories of sewing is after a machine and her telling me, put your hands on either side. She always had to see my hands.
Yeah, because she want you to sew your hand over.
Treadmill machines,
No,
and
wait, what do you mean a treadmill machine?
You pump with your foot.
Oh,
that's
like,
what I learned
your
on.
foot.
Yeah, and so those didn't have the safety features of today. Say if your finger hits it, it kind of stops. I mean, I've run my finger over a couple of times, but in those days, if you ran your finger into the thing, it would go through your finger.
Oh, God.
But so I remember, from an early day sewing. I've always sewed. I've never ever not sewed.
And so that was in Dorchester where she lived with you guys.
Probably Roxbury, because I was in Roxbury then, and then we moved to Dorchester.
Really?
Yeah, I was born in Roxbury. Yeah.
What?
Till I was 3. Yeah, till I was 3. I think I told you that because my parents moved from
Breaking news.
Yeah.
From 1954.
I was born on Magnolia Street in Roxbury, and there was the railroad tracks that cut across Dudley Street. And the next street over the railroad tracks was Nonquit Street. So my parents moved to Nonquit Street. In those days, it's awful, but just so they didn't have to put Roxbury in their address.
That's so funny. So they literally moved across the tracks.
But it was absolutely, and the house I bought was actually the house that my grandmother was born in.
Interesting. Okay, so you guys all lived together in Roxbury. And then
Until I was 3.
And then when you moved to Dorchester,
A street over.
where was your grandmother?
Oh, she was always with me.
So she came to Dorchester as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
My grandmother, when my parents got married, they moved in with my grandmother.
Yeah.
And she always stayed with us.
Okay. This is so funny.
You knew that. You don't know that?
No, I don't remember. Like, in my mind, you always lived in Dorchester until you were a teenager when you moved to Brockton.
Oh, yeah. I was a teenager then.
This is really funny. Everyone is like, all right, keep the conversation going here. Not Okay. But, like, this is riveting information for me. Discovering things about my genealogical history.
Yeah. So anyway, my grandmother was a big sewer.
Yeah.
And my mother was a big knitter, crocheter, and baker. And her father was exposed to mustard gas during the war, so he couldn't work. So he was a baker. So he would create all these recipes and sell all these specialty cookies to all the specialty bakery stores in Boston.
And
That's how
in
the
chocolate?
chocolate.
Like, was he
He
making
didn't really do chocolate. No, it was mostly
Was
the
there someone before him making chocolates?
Oh, fudge. You used to do the fudge. You know, me and my fudge we used to
I'm
make.
pretty sure that I told Emily Smith that my family was in the early Boston candy making scene.
No, the baking. They're all Boston baking scene, baking. Because, I mean, that's some of the recipes I do now. For Christmas, I try to make cookies, and the recipes are like, well, add enough milk as if you're making scrambled eggs, and, you know, crush a half a vanilla bean. And, you know, it's kind of hard today to figure that out. But
So, okay, so I know Nana, your mom, she was very creative. What about your dad? Was he like creative too? Do you really see that?
no, not really. No.
So it was your big female influence.
That's feeling. My grandmother was a sewer. My mother was a knitter. My grandmother played the piano. I had a lot of aunts and uncles that played musical instruments. We'd go up to Canada and they'd play the banjo and the fiddle and piano, and everybody'd sing and stuff. A lot of fun stuff like that.
That is really cool.
And my Aunt Nellie was a big sewer.
Yeah, and a painter.
And a painter. She was a painter as well.
Very good painter.
Yep, very good painter.
Yeah. And so you are going to school in the city, and at that point are you already making your clothes?
I was making my clothes long before that. My grandmother made all my clothes. And I used to think I was so cool. You know?
Yeah, well, you were.
I remember one time I was probably 9 years old. She made me this big green dress with big polka dots all over it. But then, and she would make the clothes from leftover clothes from my parents, whatever. And she made a coat to match it, a black coat. But she lined it with the same as my dress. So I remember going around the street because I lived in the city, and people would say, "Oh, you look so cute." I'm like, "But look at the inside."
Amazing.
I like the inside of my coat, I think, better than the dress. So she taught me to sew. So I sew always. I remember making my dolls' clothes when I was little. Yeah. When I in school in those days, you could take sewing, which I did. And then when we moved to Brockton, I had the opportunity to go to the new high school, which had all kinds of programs, and one of them was sewing, which I signed up for. And the very first week I was in sewing class, she said, "I'm moving you into the tailoring class," which was like a senior class only, because I'd sewn so long, I was already beyond the technique she was teaching the other kids, which was great. So through high school, I made all my own clothes. And I would change the patterns around. Like if I had pants that had a zipper in the front, I'd put the zipper in the side, or just stuff like that. And then I made all my own prom gowns. And,
oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then, and they were always really funky. I remember I went to one when I wanted to look like a fairy princess, and I did like a white lace, and I put like little lilac ribbons all through it. And I remember the guy picked me up and he said, "You look like you're in a wedding dress." I'm like, "Go away," you know?
Yeah, I know.
But I felt like a princess, and I loved it. So I was very happy.
So what was your space like, where you're sitting at your sewing machine, making your prom dresses? What do you see? What is around you? What room are you in? How much table space do you have to work?
My mother used to let me use the dining room table. In Dorchester, we had a big dining room, which we ate at every night because the kitchens were small. But I would just open that up. I had like a fold-out cutting board, and you'd have patterns. You'd lay them out and cut them there, and the sewing machine was upstairs in my mother's bedroom, my grandmother's bedroom. So we would, I would do it that way.
So you'd bring the sewing machine down?
No, okay. Because I cut everything out downstairs, pin it together, and put it up.
Got it.
Yeah.
This is funny. This makes me think of my childhood, because the sewing machine you would pull down at the dining room table, and that's where we would do all our sewing.
And I would cut everything out on the table. Yeah. It's kind of the same now. I still do it today in my kitchen with quilts.
Yeah, you need a big table space, which is why I asked, because like you're living in the city.
Right.
And,
But we had a big house. We lived in one of those brick townhouses. It was, the rooms were big, so we had plenty of room, so it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even then, and so I always did the sewing. And then when my mother taught adults, this was after college, at night at the practical arts school, she taught knitting and crocheting. And she said to me one day, the woman next to me is teaching quilting. I think you'd really like it. And I think I'd made blankets for my dolls when I was little. I remember that with my grandmother. But so I said yes. So I went in, and this was one of the very first pieces I made.
Oh my goodness!
And this piece has never touched the sewing machine. It was
this is a Christmas piece for those listening and not watching. If you're not watching, you're making a mistake. You should be watching.
Yeah.
But yeah. So this is a beautiful Christmas quilt.
And it was my first, and it was all hand cut, hand pieced, and hand quilted. It's all hand stitching. I don't do that anymore.
So how old were you when you made this?
This, I was probably, it was before your kids were born. So, it was probably in my early 30s.
Okay, so
late,
this
late
was
20s.
after
After
when
college. Yeah.
when you were out of college.
That's
Okay.
when I really got into quilting, and I took this class, we did this, I did a couple of other things, but, since then I've gone on.
This fabric is familiar. Did you do stuff for Megan in this?
I think I made a quilt for somebody out of that.
I
yeah.
feel like I
always have
recognize like
pieces-
this as like a little dress or something.
Yeah, I have leftover. There's a lot of the quilts I use different pieces in everybody's quilt.
I know that's one of the really fun things about it's interesting. I see that translating in the way you work, where I see your quilts and I'm like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that from all the different quilts. You kind of see the the scrap fabric or the leftover fabric go into the next project, and that's so much like my collage pieces I've been working on too. It's like you see some of the same, and even like Marsha Ballou has given me some of her scraps, so it's fun to go look at her paintings and her pieces and be like, ooh, is that some of the same material I have in some of these? It's like just keeps growing and growing.
Right. And that's the nice thing when you buy in fabric, when you pick out all your colors, you get designs going.
Yeah.
And then when you pick out your colors, I always buy extra because you want leftovers, for that. Like say you're making a quilt in the next week in a different color, but you want something different that might not be in all the shades that you've already bought. So you go to your scrap pile and kind of mix and match stuff, which is really good.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of quilting.
Yeah.
Because you can... the thing about quilting is you get a pattern, but it's just a basic pattern. So the colors you pick, and even like a log cabin quilt, I've made a million of those type of quilts. Is there a standard quilt? But it depends on the color scheme you use. If you use a 2-color palette, like all blues and all whites, you can do it, just blocks, or you can make it into a design. I've made log cabins that look like waves, or I've made them very geometric. That's the beauty. What I love about quilting is the designing.
Yeah.
When I'm sitting there quilting and I'm piecing it and cutting it and sewing it, I love it. And then when I get the top done, it's like, I just want to be done with it. Because to me, that's the fun part. So what I'll do is I'll get one quilt to that point, and then I'll go start another one. So that I'm always working on the piecing and the designing. And then you finish the layering and the backing and the quilting and all that. That's what I like.
Oh, I love it. This
like
practice is, again, like just the same way as I grew up painting in college, making my work now is like having lots of pieces going at different stages of the process. So you're kind of always sinking in.
Yeah. And you're always designing, which I like. In my head, when I've got one almost done, I'm almost gone beyond it.
Yeah.
I'm all of a sudden thinking, okay, I'm working on yellows now. My next quilt, I want reds or a variety. So I'm thinking of the next quilt already while I'm doing this one. And the nice thing about quilting is you can take pieces from one quilt and put it into another one, and you keep the different designs going, which is really
I think
great.
It's interesting too when I see these sketches you do when you're starting in the design phase for a new quilt. You use graph paper, right?
I do. Yeah, it's easy because you can measure it out by inches. I use the blocks that's the inches you go in, so it makes it easier to sketch it out.
Something you learned in a class, or you just kind of made?
I learned that from nursing, actually.
Oh yeah.
When we had wounds, I would always take graph paper with because you have to measure patients' wounds and stuff. And I always measured by my fingernail. It's like an inch your fingernail. Yeah. So you'd measure it, and then I would graft it off for the doctor and say, "This is how big it is."
Oh my gosh. Okay, so funny. Okay, so you're getting good creative input at your high school. Brockton is still known for having really great arts programs.
Yeah, they were great then too. Yeah.
And it's still something that like they really dedicate space and time for the arts at Brockton High. So you came up through there, and then
I did it in high school, but I also went, in school, part of my school day, and then at night I would go to the practical arts program and learn more techniques at night because it was more of advanced classes. Through Brockton High. It was great.
So cool.
Oh, it was really great. Yeah.
And if those classes there are people from anywhere in the community.
And at nighttime it was great because any age. So me as a beginner quilter in those days, I would be learning techniques from people who've been quilting for 30 and 40 years. Yeah. So they teach you all these different little techniques that stay with you forever, Yeah. And even a friend of mine, Debbie, a very dear friend of mine, who's passed away a while ago, but she lived in Attleboro one time, and I remember she called me, and she liked to sew, and she said, "Marian, I found this place in Attleboro that does a quilt in a day. Let's do it." So we would sign up for Saturday and go from 8 in the morning till 8 at night. You go in, you go ahead of time and buy all your fabric, but then you go in that morning, you cut it, you sew it, and you finish it all in one day.
Like a baby quilt?
No, like I made like the one for my mother. It was called Around the World. It was a big queen size one.
Yeah.
But it was a different technique. They taught you how to do. It's called the strip technique. So you cut everything in strips, and it's the way you cut it, and then the way you place it, and you could do any pattern you want. And the woman would teach you, and it was great. You didn't actually do top quilting. What they did is you tied it off, which I don't really like. I don't think that holds a quilt.
So you're
well.
tying like the top layer, the bottom layer
No,
together?
you tie like each corner. You'd tie it.
Okay.
To hold it together. Because what gives quilts a weight isn't the fabric, it's the thread. That's why when you're quilting, if you put your hand, when you spread your hand across a quilt, your fingers should touch a thread on the top. So if you've got big spaces there, you haven't done enough quilting. And that's what gives the quilt the weight, is the amount of quilting on the quilt itself.
Oh,
See like all this hand, that's because the quilting thread, the cotton thread you use like 30 weight, 50 weight. Like quilting's like anything else. It's all the tools. I love tools,
Yeah.
For
There's always another gadget to get.
Oh my God.
So you go to college, you're focused in medicine.
Yep.
So you're doing nursing.
Well, I was a medical assistant. Nursing was my second career.
Yeah, so you were medical assistant.
For years, yeah.
And then
I had 5 kids.
5 kids.
Then when my last child was in kindergarten, I went back to nursing school full time. So I did not do quilting for about 3 years at all.
How would you?
I didn't have time.
It's crazy to have all of us taking care of us. But yeah, I remember sewing projects, paper mache, whatever, spread out all over the dining room table, and then all along the floor of the dining room was big stacks of binders and books, all your nursing books. Because that was also your study area.
It was where I studied, yeah.
That was your office.
Yeah, and I still, even in school, I made all your Halloween costumes.
Well, yeah.
I still did those, because those are fun. That's really fun.
Oh my gosh. I mean, so many good ones. Like, you just found another good picture of me in the Rainbow Bright costume. Which Megan and I both got to wear.
Those are so cute, yeah. And all the Disney princesses.
Disney princesses. The Jasmine one. Yeah, I won a Halloween costume for that contest.
I don't remember that. You won a Halloween costume?
Yes, at Kelly Sansas's birthday party. She has a October birthday, and so everyone wore costumes, and I won the
I didn't know that. Oh, that's good.
contest.
Oh, nice.
And also wore in a school play, which is the photo you found.
Yeah.
Mrs. Lewis special.
Right.
Which is so funny. If anyone is listening to my podcasts consecutively, I was just interviewing Emily Smith.
Yeah.
Who went to school with us, and we talked a lot about the Mrs. Lewis production.
She was so good. She loved doing those plays. She was great with the kids.
Yeah, she was great. So I got the costume in there. One year I was a tomato.
Yes, I remember that. Remember we made that? That was easy, yeah. We just stuffed it with balloons, right?
Stuffed it with balloons. I'll never forget going trick-or-treating under someone's rose arbor and just pop, pop, pop,
all
pop.
the balloons.
And everyone thought I was an M&M. I'm like, can't you see my green turtleneck? These are my stems. And then what about some favorites for you? What were some favorite Halloween costumes?
I like doing the Disney princesses because they were the gowns. And what I used was my sister Kathleen, her old prom gowns and my old prom gowns. I cut them up to make those. I never bought much fabric for those.
Oh my gosh, Sleeping Beauty.
Oh, that was a great one.
I remember that.
That was one of Kathleen's old prom gowns.
Yeah.
And it was Kathleen's and a gown of my mother's. The pink was my mother's and the red was Kathleen's. Yeah, it was fun doing that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, so much fun. And then the boys. So then we're getting into Batman, vampires.
Which is, I didn't have to make too many of them because they always get into weird stuff. Like our ghouls and warlocks and
little boys.
Yeah.
But it's so great because just playing hide and seek with my kids at your house the other day.
Yeah.
We were hiding under one of the beds and came across one of the Tupperwares.
Right.
With a bunch of those. So we were getting my kids and the nephews dressed up in them and everything.
But with the quilting, it's just, like I was saying earlier with the tools, everybody has their favorite tools. And to find them, I think as the more you quilt, when I first started quilting, there weren't a lot of different tools you could use. The tools you get today, it's probably the same as in art. They make things so much easier and so much quicker. It's not that you need them, but you can make things so much quicker. With all the different tools.
What about even some of the rulers you have are amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I used to, when I first quilted, I had one ruler. Now you have like there's strip rulers, there's angle rulers, there's square rulers. It depends on what you're. So it just makes things more exacting to get your corners together and stuff.
Yeah.
It really makes it easier. So
Yeah. That's awesome. I know. I need to see like all of your quilts out at some point.
I never used to, but I started taking pictures of them all.
I know. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Because you really bang them out, especially if you're doing a baby quilt.
Yeah.
That one is like, I'll see you
it.
working on it and then it's getting shipped off.
Fine, yeah. Well, at my funeral, you can put all the quilts out that I've made. You can bring all the quilts.
I know. Maybe we should find an opportunity for when you're alive to do it.
I don't know who, but I've given them to so many people. That's what people keep saying. You should sell them. I'm not selling them.
Well, this would be a good, like,
Yeah.
75th birthday party or something.
Yeah.
Everyone come, bring your quilt, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm also sitting on another quilt. This is...
No, that's a different technique too, that one.
This is a big, like, purple, teal, blue, green quilt that you made for me several years ago.
Yeah.
So I'll hold it up, like, part of it anyway. So if you're watching, you can see. If you're not watching, you should be. Go on YouTube and Spotify to watch it.
The difference in this, this is what you call an applique quilt. So I cut all the blocks off for it, and then I hand pieced each one, and then appliqued it onto here. But I didn't use, they usually like an embroidery stitch on the edge. I didn't do that because a lot of times they have you just cut the fabric raw and do it. But I think that makes your fabric fray. And then the quilts don't last long. So what I did is I turned the edges all over on each one individually. It took forever to do, and sewed it on that way.
And what does applique mean?
I mean, like underneath the whole quilt is this underneath.
Okay, so the whole quilt is this large light blue fabric, and then all of these
like these are all
patterns
squares.
on top.
Yeah, that's probably just squares I put together, and then you can't really tell because there's quilting on top of it, because you don't want just a big layer of fabric that just gets too bulky. So you do the squares. It just gives it more substance. And then I do these flowers and I applicate them on that way.
So beautiful. You know what's so funny? So this summer when I was running camp programming at Levitate, we were making jellyfish with the kids.
Yeah.
And you donated a bunch of your
all the strips.
Yeah, the 1-inch strips of fabric.
Yeah.
And I recognized a bunch of the fabric pieces from this quilt, from all the different ones. And I started hoarding them all. I did. I started making like a separate bin.
What are you going to do with them?
Well, because Hazel came to camp that day too. So I was like, Hazel, use these ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then, but I've been also adding some of these fabrics into some of the paintings as well.
Oh, good.
Into the collage paintings.
So
So
that's
it's
the
so
beauty
fun
of
to
it too,
see.
because you have all the leftovers, and you can do. Even now, we'll make like little zipper bags, or like I've made a lot of Christmas ornaments. But I just go through my scrap bins.
Yeah.
And I've started like organizing. So when I have a scrap, if I have a big piece, I'll cut it into the biggest piece I can. But then I have boxes of 1 inch, 1.5 inch, all the way up to like 5-inch pieces, so that in the future, if I'm doing a quilt today, like a 1.5-inch piece, I can look through that instead of just going buying new fabric.
That's
you
great.
know? So I'm really trying to use up what I got, you know?
I know. Well, I mean, so when you made this quilt for me, you made one for each of the 4 kids, and they are all pretty different.
And they're all king size, yeah.
They're
Well,
all king size. They're all pretty
I
different.
try to gear this. I did was kind of an artsy-fartsy one for you. Megan's was a memory quilt, so I took pieces of all her clothes for her whole life and made that into a quilt, because she's into the sentimentality of everything.
Well, and in addition to fabrics of old sugar bags,
Oh,
that
yeah,
were your
I
grandmother's.
forgot about that. In the attic, I found all these, and my grandmother used to use them in her quilting. All like the domino sugar or the flower that was printed on like muslin. So they were so old, though, I did have to back every one of them with new muslin so they wouldn't fall apart.
Yeah.
But those pieces are in Megan's quilt, too, because she's very much into, that stuff.
Yeah, I need to get, I'll try to get photos of all of them and share them.
And Peter's was done, it was kind of it was like a Native American old pattern, but the name of the pattern was Boston Garden. And he lived in Boston at the time. So I did that one for him. And then Kevin's was, he kept telling me that year his favorite colors was blue and red. So I just made like a blue and red one for him. I don't remember the pattern, but I used those colors for him, yeah.
I need to get photos. But I remember you worked on those for a year.
Yeah.
And that was at Christmas.
Right.
They got revealed to us all.
Right.
That was so exciting.
this Christmas might be different too. And
Yeah.
I made 5 quilts for 5 people getting quilts this year. So, in a different theme. So everybody's
exciting.
getting them there. But I'm making other stuff this year too.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I've done beach bags and just getting into, I'm trying to use up all the fabric I have.
Yeah.
I mean, I am getting to I'm on the down curve, you know, so you can't keep buying stuff.
I know. Well, it's awesome going into you now have a sewing room.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Although, you know, you still have to, are pulling stuff out to work in the kitchen. It's still nice that you have your machine set up right by a beautiful window. And you have all your fabrics beautifully displayed by rainbow.
Yeah. And by colors. It's easier to pick when they're by colors. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you get into quilting. You're doing all of the Halloween costumes for us. You're working. You're taking care of 4 children. Nana lived with us. How did you do it?
You know, Ed and I were talking about that the other day, and I was saying, how do we ever do what we did?
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays we're retired. We have all day to do whatever we want. And some days it's like, we don't have enough time to do that today. But we're older. We do things a lot slower. And it's not that we have to do it slower. We choose to be slower.
Yeah.
Way back when, I would come, you know, you guys would go to bed at night, and I'm like, I want to make this quilt. I would stay up to 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that now.
Yeah.
You know, I just take my time during the day and stuff, you know. So it's just fun. I find quilting very relaxing, almost meditative.
Yeah.
Because you kind of get into the routine of it and the design. You've already got it planned out in your head or on graph paper. I've done it. You know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
So it's just it's probably like when you're painting, the same type of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And my tools are all right there. I know where to grab everything. I don't have to go searching for stuff. So it's really, I don't know. I've always thought art was important. When you kids were little, you know, I mean, they always said, even in nursing school, I remember the saying, you should focus kids on art and music as well as school, because it opens up different parts of the brain, and it actually makes them less stressful when they're doing art or music as well as school, because it kind of helps them think in a different way. So I think that as an adult, it's the same. You get into the mood of the art that you're going to do, and you just relax, and it's just, it's nice.
So after like a chaotic day, you're staying up late, but it's like, you're probably zoning out and not even realizing the time going by, and then you're like, crap.
Right, because if you go to bed, you probably just lay there in bed thinking of everything you had to do the next day. This way you can do something and relax and chill out and do it, you know?
Yeah, it's like flow state.
Yeah.
Getting into flow state, that's what it's called.
Well, it's probably like you without, like, you must have a favorite tool. When you, like, I know I always talk about tools a lot, but I love quilting tools. You must have a favorite painting tool.
Oh, yeah, like painting, and then
pottery in your pottery.
Yeah, like if I'm sitting down to throw on the wheel, I have like 5 things that I'm grabbing every time. I have tons of tools, but like these same 5 things every time I'm grabbing. I know just what to do with them. And I think like getting into that Zen place it's like addictive too. Like, oh my gosh, getting into diamond art. Are you still going strong with your diamond art?
Yes, I've got to have like a quarter done already. Yeah.
That's one that recently really snuck, like, was a surprise for me. It was like 2 in the morning. I was like, I couldn't even see. I had a reading light on around my neck, trying to see these tiny numbers and apps with these tiny little, but it's like, anything that just gets you into that like little creative zone.
And I think that it's relaxing too. Like that, Ed was watching, sports or something the other day I like to listen to, but I don't have to watch it. So I have like this arc light. I put that over the table with me, and I just sat there doing it. And it's just, oh my God, it was so fun. It really is. I hit YouTube starting to say there's different tools you can use to straighten the lines and things. I'm like, oh my God, now I need all these tools.
Don't buy them though, because I have so many now.
Oh, I already bought some.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny. Well, return them, because I got a big kit. Because then I started going rogue and just buying. Okay, for anyone who's listening does not know what we're talking about, diamond art is so much fun. It was introduced to me by some of the women who live at the Douglas house, where I'm regularly making artwork with on Fridays. And you can have your photos or reproductions of art you have done printed, and it's almost like pixelated. So it's like the print of your photograph is on the back, and then it's a grid of circles that have like A through like 1 through 9, A through F, or whatever of all different corresponding colors for these teeny tiny little pieces of plastic, the diamonds, little gemstone cuts, that you're essentially doing like a paint by numbers, but like filling in the pixels. So you can really just get in a roll with it. So I did one. I'm actually due to go pick it up from framing soon. That'll go to the Douglas house of one of the pieces that we made there. So it's like an original piece of art that I had reproduced.
What's it
I did diamond. It's
It's
of the first panel from Sentimento de Cabo Verde. That
nice.
triptych, that seascape.
Yeah.
And then the one I had printed for you is a landscape photo that you took
In Arizona.
Of
the red rocks, yeah. The really beautiful pinks and maroons, and the colors are beautiful.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that when it's done. But yeah, but just all of this to say,
Yeah.
it's like finding spaces for creativity in your life. It doesn't have to be something you're pursuing as a professional goal. It can be something that is just something that's meditative, something that just brings joy, finding that space in your life for it. Like a way to just like kind of cool your brain down at the end of the night, and something to think about like when you're at work, like having downtime at work on your break, whatever, you're like doing your sketches, thinking about, instead of just like scrolling, or not that you would have been scrolling on your iPhone.
But even like
the
colors,
90s,
like
but-
for me too, a big thing is like thinking of colors. I always tend to go the same colors every so often. It's like, let's broaden your horizon. Let's do, like my sister started quilting as well, and she's very bright. Everything's like the big, bold, bright colors. I tend to go very more muted colors, but lately I've been throwing a lot more bold colors in, and it kind of brings you down a different path, which is great, because you can kind of think, well, I don't have to just do this a soft, quiet. I can do like a picture quilt, or like a picture out of quilting.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of fun too. And the thing is with sewing, it's like art. You don't have to just do quilts. Like the other day I just made, I hope my cousins don't listen to this, but he eats ice cream all the time. So I made these little cozies that fit around a pint of ice cream, and I put a little handle in them.
Yeah.
And I mailed it out to him for Christmas.
Oh, good. This doesn't air till in January.
Oh, good.
So.
Okay. Yeah. So he, that's my phone beep, but I'll shut it off. But he, he said he really likes ice cream. I'm thinking, so what can I make for him to send him? So I'm sending him that. But that's just like little things like that you can do. And, because quilting, a big quilt like this could take you 3 months.
Yeah.
If you don't work on it all the time. So it's nice to have a finished product. It's when you're working on a big quilt like this, I love to do it because I love to see the design come out at the end. But I also get so impatient to see a finished product or something.
Right.
So like small, you can do wall hangs, or, I actually have like 2 or 3 baby quilts I've made that when people have babies, I'll give it to them just to get it done quickly and, have a finished product.
I feel like that is something that Yvette, who showed me the diamond art, is something that she says, which I totally agree with. It's like, okay, I know what the picture is. And so for quilting, I was like, I know what the design's going to be, but like, I still like need to see what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
When I'm done doing my version of it.
Yeah.
And it's such a motivator, just keep going.
Yeah.
And with the collaborative work that I've been making, these large scale pieces, and the ones I'm starting in my studio and working in collaboration with people, it is so much fun because it's like, I don't actually really know what the end result is going to be necessarily.
Yeah.
But it's like, as long as you know what the next couple steps are,
Right.
then that's all. You just keep doing it. And it's like, oh, I can't wait to see what's going to be. And and then when the things are finished, I don't know if you feel this, but especially with like pottery too.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it comes out of the kiln and you look at it, you're like, oh my gosh, like you can't even believe, like, I don't even think I actually made that.
Yeah.
It's just, it's amazing to kind of stand back. It's like, it's just like one step at a time.
Right.
It's a good like philosophy for life in general. It's just like, the next 2 things you need to do. And with quilting too, sometimes it's like you're going to be spending 2 hours doing this same sort of rote task.
Yeah.
But I love that. I'm like, I'm a happy girl on an assembly line. Like when I worked at Frame Center too, there was some creativity there, but like I was working in a factory on a small team doing assembly line, making fine art frames, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Like just
And there were some types of quilting like that. Like you can do like strip quilting, which it's basically sew them together, just sew, and then you cut them and sew.
Yeah.
It's kind of a very standard pattern. But like the quilt I made for Max, your son. It was like, that was not complicated, but you had to pay attention to every detail because it's like 50 different construction vehicles and each block was different. And you could only work on one block at a time. And some of the pieces were only 1-inch pieces. So you had to be very precise on how to do it. And, I was scheduled to have surgery and it was like, I need to get this done before surgery. So I was like 12 hours a day. I was working on it constantly because I really wanted it done for him at that age.
Oh, yeah. I remember driving into Boston with you for one of your doctor's appointments, and you had it, and you were hand stitching the edges. Yeah.
Well, because I wanted it done for him. And it's, but that's the same. There are some types of quilting and sewing you can do that's just root. You just go, 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 go. And there's other very difficult, not difficult, but intense, complicated times that you really have to focus on what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's the nice thing about quilting, though. You can just do something for fun and just buzz along or really get into some complicated patterns. And I find my sister and I used to go to quilting retreats, which are really fun. You go for a weekend.
Yeah, tell me about those. Where was that retreat you guys went to?
Oh, it was when they don't do it anymore. It was up on a farm in New Hampshire where there's no cell service. There was animals out on the farm, and it was like almost like a big barn. And you go in on a Friday. All your meals are prepared for you in these big rooms, and everybody just bring probably 40 people. They bring in the machines in every level, from beginner to master quilters. And, a master quilter is considered a person who's entered their quilts in the show and has gotten a ribbon. But many people who've quilted have never entered a show, and they're like some of the best quilters I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
And the beauty of these quilt shows is you go and everybody's doing something different, and everyone's, you'd be stuck on something. They go, well, I learned this technique to do that. So you're working with a group, and then some people will come over, probably like when you're in art school, and say, well, that color doesn't really work with that. How about everybody shares their ideas and change fabrics, and it's just really great community.
Of what you were talking about with like the after school at the Brockton High, Brockton High too. Yeah. You're working with people of all different levels.
Yeah. And everybody's giving input and suggestions and ideas and helping you with colors. And many times, even now, quilt, I'll send pictures to my sister and go, what do you think about those? I don't know if these two, and vice versa. Yeah. And I like that in a group thing because I like, it's kind of good to get out of your own head and see it from someone else's perspective. Like, oh yeah, because even I've said to you, if I want to make this go to look in the center, how do I draw the colors out? And you'll help me with colors on that. Yeah. And that's really, that's fun because that's the next book I'm making. I need the center to be focused because I want to cut up my wedding gown.
Oh.
And it's this pattern.
Oh, breaking news.
This pattern I want to use. And the thing is, the gown's all satin. So we're going to have to back everything. But I want that as a center block. And it's like a 6-layer outside from it. So I want the colors to pull out. So I think I have to go light to dark on it. And I'm going to do a two-tone. I'm going to do the satin, which my gown was kind of a cream color. And then I'm going to do all yellows from light to dark.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I think it's going to be beautiful, I think.
Yes. So, what are you going to do? What is it?
That's going to be for me. I need all my quilts I have in my own home are wearing out.
Put me in the will for this one right now.
But it's like, all right, you're gonna have that one. But it's like,
sorry, Sibs, I'm getting the hot take on Let's Chat.
But this but it's the same. It's the same thing. Sometimes I need help with the colors. Like I need this color. I want it to do this. So I need you to help me with it. And that's when you go to these quilting retreats. It's just everybody's sharing ideas and patterns and techniques, and it's just really, it's wonderful. It's
I feel like when you send those pictures to me, sometimes I'm trying to do this. It's like one of the first things I always do is I change the image to black and white.
You told me that. I do that all the time now.
And that's just one of those random techniques that like someone showed me once. But when you're working in community.
Yeah, and I'll do that. And sometimes I'm like, oh my goodness, I got all dark colors in this area. So I have to flip them around a little bit. Yeah, that really helps a lot.
Yeah. So fun. It's just nice to get community with that too. And then I think also a lot of times in the visual arts, you end up working in silos because you really do just need a lot of alone time in your studio. So I have an opportunity like for a retreat or a workshop or a class where you're getting together. It's like, hello, I'm not doing this weird thing alone.
Exactly.
All the time. So this is a quilt you gave to me last Christmas.
This one. Oh, yeah.
Another Christmas quilt. And this is so cool because
this is special.
Yeah. Tell me about this quilt. If for those of you who can't see it, it's like a grid, so there's a whole bunch of blocks, and there's
a basic pattern, but it's what's inside it. These are all when my mom was older, she couldn't go out very often. So what I would do is give her blocks of fabric, and she would cross stitch all these. These are her own designs for flowers.
I'm gonna pull this closer.
And before she passed away, she wanted to make enough blocks that I could make a quilt for both my daughters. Unfortunately, she passed away before I could, but I was able to split the amount that she did up. And like some of this butterfly one to me is beautiful. Oh, yeah, this one here. This is a butterfly that she cross-stitched all that. So what I did is I had enough to split them evenly, and I just put hearts in between all her work because I really wanted her work to be the most. So she would, because she loved to cross stitch as well, and she made her own designs on the flowers, which were beautiful. Some of these, and she
And
of
I got
course,
an E here for Elizabeth.
yeah, and Marian got an M for M, yeah, and
It's amazing to think about this. Like she passed in 2011.
yeah. And I just did it last year, but these were in my closet. I just never knew what to do with them, and I kept thinking, I wish I had enough to make. And that's when I said, I'll just do a block quilt and put hearts in between, because it was so much love that she put into this, you know? And I just think for you girls, for her to have something from her was nice, because that was her intent. She wanted that, so I just think that come out really good. That's kind of like a memory quilt. I've done that for a friend of mine, her son, my friend who passed away, her son and daughter have had children since she's gone. And one of her nieces gave me her clothes and asked if I could make baby quilts for their kids out of it, which I've done. And it just means, I think, just have something of that personal, like this of my mom. She actually touched, you think they touched this fabric. It's something, it's for a design, what she did. And their intent was for you to have it. So it's nice for that. And I love doing that, you know.
I know, so nice. Yeah.
And that's like a collaborative piece when two people work together for one thing, you know, even though this isn't what she had in her mind, at least I was able to put something together for her that she wanted, a few girls, which was good. Yeah,
absolutely. This is so
nice.
special.
Yeah.
And it's like both of these quilts
Yeah.
are just mean so much to me. And you made a quilt for Hazel, and then
I made 3 of them for her.
well, I was just gonna say, well, you made her 3 baby quilts,
Right.
But then you also made her big kid quilt,
Big kids quilt, yeah.
and Max's
His big quilt, yeah.
quilt. So it's like our house, we're constantly just surrounded by your quilts, and
the Christmas stockings I made for everybody one year.
the Christmas stockings. That was another year. There was a few years actually where different people would be getting their Christmas stockings. Those are beautiful.
Right. Those were a lot of work.
Velvet.
Velvet and tiny pieces. Well, yeah, and I wanted to use the same Christmas fabric in each family, but I wanted a different pattern on every stocking. So I kind of created my patterns on those. Some I twisted around, some I did, and I did in each kid's family. I used the same fabrics, but different patterns for each one, different designs I made, and they come out with the velvet. Come on, it's not anything what the pattern tells you to do, but I think they come out nice.
Yeah,
I think they come out great. So. Yeah, so those are fun. And no, I've just always loved sewing. I think no matter whether it's quilting or making something for someone to wear or for something to use, it's just, I love coming away from the machine with something like, I did that.
Yeah.
Because it's like sometimes you'll go, I can't believe I did that. And now I can't really do hand quilting anymore. I don't have the dexterity. Like this is nothing on this touched the machine.
This one, the Christmas quilt that you made.
But I don't have the dexterity anymore. So what you do is you send like this one, you send it to what they call a long arm quilter.
Yeah.
And it's this big giant quilting machine they have. And they have all different designs. And you can pick all the designs you want to go on the top of it. And it just... You know, I will do a lap size quilt on my machine. I'll do my own machine quilting, but I don't have, you really need the space. You need a big table to pull it out. And with it, you need the strength to pull it through a machine. I don't have the ability for that. So I do have them long arm now, but I always do my own binding, my hand. I do all that. And, you know, it's just, I love it. I love sewing.
I know. Well, it's awesome. And I remember, Nana teaching me how to cross stitch growing up, so it's like just so special to have this quilt and see these pieces that she made, and also think about the fact that like I might have popped in on her.
Yeah, you probably did.
While she was sitting there in her chair making one of these, and not telling me what it was for.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was good for her. It kept her busy. You know, not that it kept her busy, but she liked doing something creative too. So it was good for her when she was sitting there. You know?
Yeah, always creative. It's like it's no surprise that I'm an artist, because it's just something that we've all done. It's just sort of like through the generations, I guess you just get more and more opportunity to lead into that.
Right.
Um,
When you
and-
think back on the history of it too, it's like, like when I was growing up, they kind of had to make your own clothes. That's what everybody learned. People who didn't have a lot of money were making their own clothes. And it's just kind of like my grandmother took clothes in, for seamstress and made money. My Aunt Nellie did. She was always mending people's clothes. She kind of had a little side business for sewing. And that was kind of, but that was just a side job.
Yeah.
They loved doing the creative part on their own, but it was a nice way for them to make money way back then too, So that was, the way of the world in those days,
Were there like do you remember going to like craft fairs? Like right now you can really like kind of transition a side hustle into a real full-time job just by like going crazy on the market scene. But like, was that a thing?
I grew up in Boston in my day. I mean, in the 60s, it was more like church craft fairs. And it was, I think of the old knitted toilet paper holders, they had little dolls sitting on toilet paper and things like that. But not like today. They might have been, but I don't remember going to any like that. The craft fairs today are really very creative, very talented people there selling really high quality stuff. I just remember like a little, hand weave pot holders and things like that, nothing like today,
Yeah, it's interesting because the more opportunity you have for sales, the more seriously you can
get into it
and take it. And interesting thing we skipped here too is that you did have a graphic design career.
Well,
briefly.
It was just I worked in advertising at Gillette. When I went to college for a year, then I took a year off and to save money. I worked at advertising in Gillette, and I did like the paste up boards for like shampoo. I forget the name of it was like Good Earth or something like that. It was just a lot of fun because they had just moved their advertising headquarters to Boston. So it was all these young people from the South came up, and it was just a bunch of 20-year-olds working in the office and making these poster boards or, boards for advertisements in the newspapers. It was fun.
That is cool.
It was really a fun job. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, well, and
I wasn't one of the designers. I was kind of like I was only like 19 years old. I was like the gopher, but they let me do some, help them with the boards and stuff. It was just fun,
Yeah, well, it's fun just to like think about any early exposures into arts careers.
Yeah, and just see how it all went. Yeah.
Yeah, and how they're using collage, basically, to do
advertising. It was all collage. And in those days, we didn't have the computers. It was literally boards, and you're pasting newspaper or a copy that people would draw on. We would be pasting them up on boards and moving it around, It was pretty cool, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's next for you? You're doing your wedding quilts.
Right.
And have you started slicing that up yet?
No.
Oh my gosh, so scary.
I lay in bed at night. I'm laying in bed at night. I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to cut it? Because it's all lace overlay too. So it's like, do I want to keep the lace in it, which I think I do, but I got to figure out how to do that. I haven't figured out how to lay that on it yet. I don't know if I should do it. Anyway, I've got different ideas in my head, so I lay in bed thinking about that.
Yeah, it's time for some graph paper.
But I'm working right now on a friend of mine recently lost her husband, so I took some of his clothes.
Oh.
So I've just started cutting them up. I'm going to make a quilt for her out of his clothes.
Oh, it must be so emotional for you too, because it's your friend's husband, but he's also your friend.
He's my friend. But one thing I like about making a quilt is before you make it, you usually know who you're going to give it to.
Yeah.
So the whole time you're making it, you're thinking about that person. So it's kind of almost like a memorial to the person for me, because I'm thinking about him and thinking about all the happy times, and it's just, I think this is something that she'll always have for him, that he'll always be there. And I'm incorporating, like his blue jeans, I'm incorporating in each block, I'm going to put some kind of heart of a different kind in it that I made out of his jeans.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be nice too.
Yeah.
But that is one thing about quilting. When making something for somebody, it may take a week or a month, but the whole time you really are thinking about who you're giving it to, or whatever it is you're making. So I like that. That's in your head. It's a nice way to think about the person and
and sort of like channel their spirit and to be with you, spend and a way to spend some more time with that person.
Yeah. And it brings you all the happy memories back that you had with that person, So, I mean, a memory will. But even when I'm giving it to my kids, like when I was making these, I was thinking of you guys, and are they going to like it when they get it? What's their expression going to be like? It's like probably when you make pottery, you give it away. It's like, hope they really like it. What are they going to do with it? It's nice, to hand make something,
Yeah, absolutely. And especially a piece like this that you spend so long on.
Yeah, well, that's been hanging around for so long. It's like, oh God. And she spent so much time doing this. Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah, but there are, even in quilting, there's all different levels from beginning, and no matter whether you're a beginner or an advanced, I tell anybody can quilt, because people say, how do you make such beautiful quilts? I'm like, anyone can do it. You can read, you can do it, because you start with just following a pattern step by step, and then eventually you can create your own. But at the beginning, anybody can do it.
Do you have any recommendations? I mean, sadly, R.I.P. Joanne Fabrics.
No,
because I know that would have been a good place to go to get, because when you buy a quilt pattern, it's like a book.
Yes.
So you get a whole book. Any recommendations on how to get started with something like that? Just Google.
Go to a quilt shop.
Go to a quilt shop.
There's not many. I mean, in this area, there's one I just found recently in Lakeville called Homestead Quilts, and the woman is wonderful. And you go in there and just take a beginner class, and they'll start you on something very basic. I think the very first thing I ever made, besides this, was they have you do a pillow cover for a pillow, and then you just go from there. And if you get hooked, you just go. And any classes I've done, the teachers have always said, start with a quilt. You'll be very happy doing a quilt, especially ones that are the same block through a whole quilt, because once you master that, then you go on to other ones,
Yeah.
And sampler quilts are fun. This is considered a sampler quilt because every block is different.
Which one?
The quilt, Christmas
The
quilt.
Christmas quilt?
Or
yeah.
Your son Max's quilt is our construction vehicles. Even though the whole theme is the same, it's considered a sampler because each block is different.
Yeah.
There are some quilts where every block is the exact same.
Yeah.
And those are good ones to start with because they're easy,
So find a class, stick with something, don't go crazy, don't be getting into applique.
No, not to begin with. Just start with simple. Start with a block quilt, one block one, and take a class, really. And the classes are fun because you can read any patterns you want, or anybody can do it, I think, reading a book. But when you go to a class, they teach some of the techniques. Even to this day, I'll make a new pattern that I haven't done before. I'll Google it. I'll go to YouTube and say, how did they do that? And just to learn, because it's always new techniques on everything.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And
And advice for people who are in the thick of it in parenting and running their careers and families and finding space for creativity.
Just keep doing it. Find time. Wait till they go to sleep at night. Even if you do it for half an hour, you'll go to bed at night and you feel like, I did it. And then as the weeks go on, if you're making a quilt, when your kids are little, it may take you 6 months to make one quilt.
Yeah.
But it's every week you get a little bit done and you get it done.
And
get the good tools. My favorite tools are scissors. Get a good pair of scissors.
A good pair of scissors.
Yes.
What brand do you like?
The ones I have, there's all many different ones. I can't even think of the name of them. I know they're purple. Those are I have 20 pair of scissors. My purple ones are the favorite.
All right.
And little clippers. You have to get clippers.
Little clippers.
I have 4 pair of clippers, and I know which ones are my favorite. They're always closest to me on the sewing machine.
You're like a dentist.
Yeah.
Like a surgeon.
But different scissors. I mean, even clippers. I have curved scissors. I got sharp scissors. I've got rounded top scissors. You have to have certain scissors for certain parts of it, which as you go along, which ones you want,
All right. I'm going to get your favorite, 4 tools for a beginner and link them in the show notes.
All right.
So people can start their collection.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. This has been fun.
I know. So fun and perfect because we're in the winter months. We got to be cozied up.
You got to do it. I know. Have to. And don't just stick with quilting. Even if you're a quilter, you make multiple things.
Yeah. I know. Well, even you've done quilted ornaments.
Oh, yeah. I got a whole bag of those ornaments. Yeah. I did the microwave cozies.
Oh, and Easter baskets. My kids' Easter baskets.
Actually, I think I might make them Halloween ones next year, too. Bags.
Oh.
I was looking this year.
Make sure they're really big.
I was looking at them this year thinking they need better bags than that.
I just gave them reusable, grocery bags.
Yeah. So I was looking at, and actually I found one already that's kind of shaped like a carrot, but they're big. So it says, and they kind of round on the bottom. So I think I'm going to make them for the kids. Always something to make.
There's always something to make.
Always.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You're the best. Love you.
So you are. I love you too, sweetie. Bye,